Okay, for today's vocabulary, number one, to dub something as a verb. When you dub something, that means you give it like a nickname or a title. This is kind of famous for like whenever you hear like of some knights in some fantasy story where the knights had fought off something bravely and then they were knighted by the king or queen, and then they give them a title, like a special name. They always say, I dub thee, like I'm giving you this name, I'm naming you this. So nowadays we talk about something as, especially if you're talking about like a nickname. If you bought a new car and you gave it a nickname, you can say like, oh, I dubbed it the Dream Machine, you know. I don't know if anybody calls a car a Dream Machine, but number two, red tape. Red tape is what we call any kind of rules or bureaucracy or barriers that you have in the workplace or government that gets in the way of any kind of progress. Some people complain that over-regulation, puts too much red tape on business. Number three, financier. Anybody that, obviously the root word finance, right? So anybody that manages a lot of money, huge amounts of money for investors or large organizations or even government programs. They are basically the people who look for the money and manage the money and keep track of how to spend it too. Number four, mainstream. Mainstream refers to anything that is the, well, you guys already know. I mean, just anything that's just like normal or the big trendy thing. Number five, funnel. So do you guys know what's a funnel? Like that you pour into? Like you do? Okay. So if you were putting oil into a car, you use a funnel. It has, the small end and the big end, and then you pour into the big end. So funneling as a verb is you're trying to take a lot of one thing and put it into one source or one place to receive it. A lot of times we talk about illegal money laundering activities as funneling money into like a suspicious account or something. So if there's like a scam and somebody is funneling money, that means they are taking the money and they're putting it into like an illegal banking account or something like that. Number six, flop, is just to fail. Just fail so bad. If there's a movie that came out that had like just a ton of advertising and marketing, and they paid a lot of money for everybody to know about this movie coming out, and then the movie comes out and the reviews are horrible, and then nobody goes to see the movie, that movie flopped. Number seven, Ponzi scheme. Do you guys know what's a Ponzi scheme? This is really good to know. A Ponzi scheme is any kind of, it's basically a kind of business scam where someone will ask you for an investment and promise some big returns regularly that are actually not really possible in the business world. So what happens in a Ponzi scheme is, someone will go ask a group of people, hey, I got this project going on and I need investors. But when the project finishes, you're guaranteed to get, 200% profit or something like that. And so the name Ponzi is from the actual guy that did this in the 1930s or 1950s. Yeah, 1930s in the U.S. He was an Italian American. His name was Charles Ponzi, and he stole a lot of money from Americans. Went to Italy, stole a lot of money from Italy, who came back. So that's why it was named after him. He made it famous. Recently, in the maybe past decade, there was a guy, a famous investor, not investor, but a famous fund manager. His name was Bernie Madoff. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. But Bernie Madoff had stolen billions of dollars from people in America for like 25 years straight. And then finally, and there was a guy that caught him, and he kept reporting him, but nobody believed him because Bernie Madoff was making too much money. And then what happened was one day, finally, Bernie Madoff told his son, this is actually a big scam, and I've finally run out of money. And his son reported him to the FBI. So he went to jail. And this was like less than 10 years ago that he went to jail. Yeah. And now, even though he's still in jail, he still helps the SEC and the FBI try to track down other big schemers. And he also, there's a movie being made about him with, what's the actor's name? No, it's I'll find out for you, but it's a big actor. Robert De Niro, that's who it is. Robert De Niro is going to be Bernie Madoff. They look alike too, actually. So that's Ponzi scheme. Last is penalize. So you know the word penalty? Okay. So penalize is to basically give someone a penalty for breaking a law or a rule. So you kind of punish them, right? Make them pay. And that's our expression for today.